My speech is based off of the famous quote, "You don't have to control your thoughts, you just have to let your thoughts stop controlling you." At the end of my speech, my audience will understand how anxiety has impacted my life. The time of panic, coping, and conquering created by multiple internalized thoughts has helped me get to the spot in my life that I'm at today. Anxiety is the most common mental illness and affects up to 40 million Americans ages 18 and up. During this speech, many of you may relate to what I went through or find light to overcome struggles that you are going through in your life. This is my experience of discovering I struggle with anxiety and the things I went through before I learned to overcome it. By fall of my senior year, my low-level anxiety I experienced all my life reached new time heights. Panic became the focus of my life and took over. I went from being a dependable friend, responsible student, and an easygoing daughter. Simple things became difficult. Activities I loved I avoided. Physical symptoms crept up and became intense and chronic. I experienced daily headaches, nausea, sudden onset of panic, and in January of 2019, anxiety took control and impacted the quality of my life I had previously enjoyed. In January of 2019, my senior year, I stopped attending school regularly because it was too much for me to overcome, and my anxiety physically stopped me from being able to attend. I did not participate in the sport I loved, which was track. I began to socialize with friends less and less, which I did a lot. Next, I began the steps to get a diagnosis, cope, and get treatment. I felt the panic I experienced was triggered by me not feeling well daily. And my mom encouraged me to talk about my symptoms to a doctor. The doctor ordered some tests, and I was later diagnosed with chronic migraines. I tried to avoid triggers for the migraines, and I take medication now. I began talking to a counselor to help me cope with my anxious feelings. My counselor diagnosed me with anxiety and started me on some anti-anxiety medication. She taught me many coping mechanisms. And told me to take each day step by step so my mind wouldn't get overwhelmed and make my anxiety spiral to new levels. After a couple of months of letting the anti-anxiety medication take effect, the panic subsided as I was able to cope with my level of symptoms and conquer the level of anxiety I was suffering from. I began to feel comfortable and confident enough to try to get back to a sense of normalcy in my life. I began to socialize with friends again, which I was so happy to do. And I started to attend school again, which my teachers were happy I was able to do. And throughout my experience of struggling with anxiety, I lost motivation to succeed or accomplish any goals I previously had. The biggest accomplishment I conquered was earning my diploma after losing sight of its importance for so long. I knew I was on the right track when I started getting ambitious enough to gain the coping skills to become employed. After receiving my diploma and realizing I conquered a goal that you work 12 years of your life to succeed, I decided to focus on my health. I took a year off of school since it had been a major struggle for me, and I decided to get my migraines under control, and that played a big part in helping my anxiety levels decrease. The time spent coping with my anxiety and deciphering my long-term goals has set me in a place in my life that I am happy and comfortable with. That being said, my experience with anxiety may have caused tremendous panic, but it led me to amazing support and techniques of coping, which gave me the ability to conquer all the anxious thoughts and feelings I was going through. According to ADAA, which is the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, anxiety disorders develop from a complex set of risk factors, including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. With that being said, I am apt to suffer from anxiety because of life events I've gone through and overcome, and because of my personality, which tends to put others before myself. According to Adam Feldman of medicalnewstoday.com, anxiety is a normal and often healthy emotion. However, when a person feels disproportionate levels of anxiety, it might become a mental disorder. Oftentimes, people don't take anxiety serious enough because everyone has anxious moments in their life. But when it impacts what were once simple functions of life, help needs to be sought. But a lesson I've learned is you don't have to control your thoughts, you just have to stop letting your thoughts control you. Goal achieved.